Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing how West Ham are one step closer to getting out of the relegation zone. But before that, as always, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way in helping me build a small community on my channel, okay? We've recently just hit 250 subscribers, guys. We've gone and done it, haven't we? We've done our target I've been asking for a couple of videos now, and I just really do appreciate it. I think we actually got 251, so that's absolutely amazing. Can our next target be like 300 subscribers, maybe? I'm not going to put it out there, but maybe if that can, happen in a few weeks' time, I'll be very over the moon once again. But yeah, you've always got to be looking forward to our next goals, don't we? But anyways, let's get straight into the episode, shall we? West Ham beating Newcastle 3-1 at the weekend was absolutely amazing scenes, wasn't it? Just because now they're only 3 points behind Burnley in 17th, so that's only one win away from, getting out of the relegation zone, as long as, like, Burnley lose next weekend, for example. But anyways, that win was so essential to their season, because they could have, if they didn't get that win over the line, they could have easily, been sitting in that relegation zone for another couple of weeks. Don't get me wrong, they're currently in the relegation zone still in 18th, but, they're one step closer. So, in this game now, was it more of West Ham being absolutely brilliant, or was it more Newcastle being, absolutely devastating? And to be honest, quite terrible in this game. A lot of goalkeeping mistakes, a lot of defensive mistakes from Newcastle as well, but we will get into that in a minute, okay? But if we just talk about the first goal quickly, it's actually quite funny how the first goal led to sort of Jared Bowen's miss shot, if you like, because the West Ham winger sort of ran down the opposition half, okay, had a shot, hit off the bar, and then obviously the Newcastle players sort of got hold of the ball, drove forward, okay, and then the ball sort of landed to Jacob Murphy on that right hand side. He was sort of dancing past Juve, okay, had a nice little shot outside the box, and it went straight past Areola. The goalkeeper couldn't do anything about it. So from that point of view, it was looking more likely that Newcastle could have easily gone on and potentially won the game, okay? When there was 1-0 up now, you could think to yourselves, why can't they sort of just, get a second goal, get a third goal to sort of see out the game? West Ham sort of did well to sort of close the gap, bring back the, momentum, if you like, for their team, and sort of gain all the possession back, create the chances, and find an equaliser through a Lucas Mateta outside shot as well. If you think about it, you could probably say it was a Nick Pope mistake, just because before Lucas Mateta had that shot, okay, a cross came into the box, and then Nick Pope sort of just, punched the ball away. Instead of catching it, okay, he sort of jumped up, he was big and strong, right, but instead of catching it, he sort of just punched it in the air, sort of the ball sort of landed to Lucas Mateta outside the box, and he just took a quick early shot to sort of catch Nick Pope off guard, okay. And yes, Nick Pope sort of did get a touch on the ball, but then he sort of parried it into his own goal. So that's how Lucas Mateta scored the equaliser for West Ham. So from that point of view, you could say to yourself, was it Nick Pope's fault? For me, I would say yes, just because in that first instance, right, he should be catching the ball rather than punching it. I don't know why he didn't catch it. Yes, he had 2 or 3 players around him in the West Ham forwards, in the Newcastle defenders as well. So from that point of view, you could probably say to yourself, he probably didn't have didn't have enough balance to sort of keep hold of the ball, if you like. So that's probably why he sort of had to punch it away. I don't know. So yeah, it was a little bit tricky from that point of view. But then the momentum sort of just fell for West Ham, didn't it? As soon as they scored that equaliser, you just felt to yourself, West Ham were being the better side. They were creating the most chances. And for the second goal as well, okay, it came on the right hand side. It was a lovely crossing from Wan-Bissaka, okay, and then the defender, Sven Botman, okay, he put a nice little slide tackle in to sort of clear the ball. I think he was hoping for a corner, to be honest with you guys. Generally, I think he was hoping for a corner. However, the ball sort of just rolled into the back of the net. For me, again, you could probably say, Nick Pope, what are you doing? Has Nick Pope had a stinker in this game? Let me know in the comments down below. For me, it was a little bit wild, because you could say that Nick Pope, he probably was not expecting that ball to sort of, go towards him. He probably was expecting it to go out for a corner, and he's probably too far away where he sort of couldn't react in time. So from that point of view, it's a little bit tricky for the goalkeeper to sort of keep hold of the ball. However, when you watch the replays back, it does look like a howler from both, the centre-back and the goalkeeper for Newcastle in this game. For me, Newcastle could have easily just gone on and got a point in this game. However, those defensive mistakes, those goalkeeping mistakes, has caused them, to lose all 3 points in this game. So from that point of view, it is very, very tricky. Again, I think Newcastle probably were better. They sort of dominated the game, through the likes of their midfield in Thomas Souček, in Jared Bowen. I feel like Jared Bowen was probably the main man in this game. Even though he didn't score any goals, I feel like, again, he's just Mr. West Ham, isn't he? When West Ham need him, he's there to provide you. Even if it's just to, keep hold of possession, take on a few defenders, have shots on goal, even if it's just to cause that Newcastle defence some problems, he's always there to provide you something good in that West Ham attack. So from that point of view, for me, I feel like West Ham were the better side in this game, and they definitely did deserve it. But if we just quickly talk about that third goal as well, okay, again, it was another defensive mistake. Obviously, it fell to Jared Bowen on just past the halfway line now. Okay, obviously, he sort of had a nice little 1-2 with, I want to say, either the right centre mid or the right back. I can't particularly remember, okay, but he had a nice little 1-2 with that right-handed sided player. Jared Bowen runs into the box, has a nice little shot. Nick Pope does very good to initially save the ball, however, he couldn't keep hold of it, and Thomas Souček, runs into the box very late on and just manages to get that ball over Nick Pope, okay, and scores the third goal for his side. Initially, I was thinking to myself, maybe Jared Bowen should have scored that. He probably should have done a little bit better to try and get like a third goal. However, Thomas Souček did very well to, get that third goal over the line for West Ham United and see out all 3 points for them, because those 3 points are essential to their season. For me, I was saying last week, right, I think I was saying in my previous video that West Ham and Wolves are pretty much guaranteed to potentially, get relegated, but just because I couldn't see where West Ham's next 3 points were going to come from. But beating Newcastle, who are, always challenging for those, top 4, top 6 positions, it might have changed my outlook on West Ham's season, okay? Hopefully now that Nuno Espirito Santo has had a few weeks on the training pitch with West Ham, hopefully he can sort of, got those West Ham players ticking. And for me, I really do feel like, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit too early. Let me know in the comments down below, West Ham fans. How do you feel about beating Newcastle? Do you feel like do you feel like you can take on that win and bring that into your next game? Okay, if we quickly think about the fixtures, okay, they're actually playing Burnley next week. So if they can beat Burnley, okay, they'll be out the relegation zone. And for me, that is a massive, massive game for West Ham's season. Again, when you think about it, I feel like West Ham probably should be beating Burnley from their overall squad. If you look at both squads, I feel like West Ham do have the better players. However, Burnley are in better form this season, aren't they? And to be honest, they've actually surprised a few teams. So for me, even though they did lose 2-0 against Arsenal, I do feel like Burnley could get a half-decent result against West Ham, okay? I could see that going to be a draw, but you'll have to let me know in the comments down below as well what you guys think. But yeah, let's end the video with some questions, okay? I've asked a few questions early on in this video, but yeah, how do you feel about this win for West Ham? Do you feel like you could potentially beat Burnley next weekend? Could you get out of the relegation zone next weekend? Who was your star player in this game against Newcastle? Was it more West Ham being, amazing in this game, or was it more, defensive and goalkeeper mistakes for Newcastle that let them down? How do you feel about those, goalkeeper mistakes from Nick Pope? Was it just a one-off, or is he slightly declining? I don't know. How would you feel about your season as a whole? How would you feel about Nuno Espirito Santo as a manager? Was it the right appointment? Can you see positive signs, or is there more negative signs? And yeah, where do you think West Ham will finish at the end of the season? But before that, as always, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes a long way in having me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 250 subscribers. I just want to say a massive, massive thank you. I can't believe it. We've gone and hit our target. Can we go and set another target? Shall we set another target? 300 subscribers? Aye. Maybe we can go and do that. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.